It was a huge dildo that kind of has a ball sack and a big suction cup. It was purple. They had stuck it on the top
purple.
of the Tesla like a unicorn horn, and it was just flopping in the wind as they drove by. Yeah, the dildo on the Tesla was more entertaining than the movie. That's my hot take. Hello and welcome to The Talkies, where three filmmakers talk about movies. I'm Kenny.
I am D.
I'm Taylor.
And today, we're getting into Gladiator Part 2.
Part 2? It was the unfinished story. Yeah.
That's true. I just gave it way too much credit.
Yeah.
Sorry. Gladiator 2.
You will be my instrument.
And we are going to try to get to the bottom of the question of the hour, which is, what the fuck has happened to Ridley Scott?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But before we get into that,
down in the description, you can join our Discord if you enjoy chatting about movies on the internet. You can do that with us.
Also, it's not an echo chamber, so, go in there and tell us why we suck.
Yeah, exactly. If you watch our episode and you have something to say about Gladiator and you don't agree with us, let us know.
Yeah. In the comments works too, but, in there we can tell you to fuck off right there.
In the Discord, we can argue.
Yeah.
We can go head to head.
We need
battle,
more arguing.
Argue.
Yes.
We want to keep it as toxic as possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Personal attacks.
Oh, yeah, it's personal attacks. Yeah, all that. Racism, politics.
Cyberbullying, whatever.
Everything.
it's all on the table in our Discord.
Is that a good plug?
That was a great plug.
Is that what the kind of culture we want to cultivate?
Yes.
It's all about love here.
Peace and love.
Yeah.
F you.
So, let's just jump into this movie, shall we?
Let's get our fucking hot takes.
Takes.
I already heard your hot take.
Don't matter.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it again, but you go. You go first.
Me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Hot.
I thought this movie was kind of bad.
That's a pretty good hot take.
I actually have a more nuanced hot take.
Oh, you want to redo?
Yeah.
Fine, go ahead, D.
Yeah.
We have no rules here. You can
My
do
hot
whatever you
take's
want.
actually based on Kenny's hot take. So.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
So
I
should
haven't
Kenny
even
go
given
first
mine
then?
yet, so go on.
So go ahead, Kenny.
What if I change my mind?
Nope, you're not going to.
Yeah. I think I'll go ahead and just dovetail on my Heretic hot take.
Excuse me? You got a dovetail?
Yeah, you remember Heretic?
Yeah.
So this one, 20% cool, 80% balls. And I'll just add to my hot take, a little addendum.
Yeah.
When I got out of the movie, I walked into the parking lot.
Dildo.
And I was nearly run over by a Tesla that had a suction cup dildo stuck to the roof of their car.
That actually sounds kind of funny.
It was funny. It was a huge dildo that kind of has a ball sack and a big suction cup. It was purple. They had stuck it on the top
purple.
of the Tesla like a unicorn horn, and it was just flopping in the wind as they drove by. And it drove by, and I went, and then I went, that was the most emotion I've felt all night.
Oof.
Everything is forgotten in time.
Yeah, the dildo on the Tesla was more entertaining than the movie. That's my hot take.
Oof.
Yeah?
Yeah.
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 I'd say the movie wasn't that bad.
It
That's
was.
all. I would say it's not 80%.
You and I are
balls.
going to come to fisticuff.
It might be 65, 70% balls, but
That's still a pretty bad movie.
You guys are going to fight over that 10% margin?
We're going down to the mat.
Yeah, that's right.
That 10% of balls.
Yeah. I'm going to die on this hill. You understand?
Going to die on this
70% balls.
scrotum.
Wait.
70%.
You went up.
68% balls. Okay.
Anyway, are we good now? Is that our hot takes?
I guess so. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Is that your hot take, Taylor?
Yeah, I thought this was a bad movie.
Yeah. I thought it was
a really bad
fun.
movie. Personally, this movie made me really unhappy.
I thought you were going to say unhealthy.
Is that okay? It did. It was a health thing, probably. Yep. From the first thing on the screen, which was a title that said, "Hey, remember the first Gladiator movie? It didn't count."
It didn't count.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's how the movie started.
Yeah.
Yeah. After the piece that was found at the end of the last movie, it lasted for a little bit and then went away. And now things are bad again and we need a new hero. So let's do it all over again.
Yup.
And I literally groaned out loud. And the person next to me was like, what? And I was like,
The person next to you?
yeah, total stranger was like, what? And I was like, oh, okay, I'll tell you.
Wait, he said what?
Yeah, because we were socializing already before the movie.
Gotcha.
And I think he already gathered that I'm kind of a loud, obnoxious person. So when I was like, oh, God. And he was like, what? And I'm like, don't you see what just happened? They literally just started the movie with a title that says, the first movie didn't count. Let's do it again. That's how the movie started.
Yeah.
I was kind of almost done at that point already.
That's valid, I would say. I don't think it was that bad because coming into it, I didn't think about it as a sequel to the Gladiator movie.
I tried not
What did
to
you think
of
of
it as that.
Like a remake?
Well, no, I mean, it was a sequel. But I mean, like, you guys remember
Practically
Star Wars. You guys remember Star Wars?
I wish I didn't.
Yeah. Do you remember Star Wars, Ken?
Yeah, fine.
So when we went to Star Wars Episode 9, which
that
unreal.
was the one.
In Episode 9, I remember walking out of the theater and I was thinking, yeah, it was fine. And you guys were like pissed, right? Both of you. And it's because both of you have a lot more of a close relationship with this movie.
Yeah, we cared about Star Wars,
Yeah.
and we saw them just throw everything we cared about into a garbage disposal.
Right.
Without the cool scene where Han Solo is stuck in a garbage disposal, and there's a monster in there, and then they all escape.
Yes.
And,
that was a scene in Star Wars.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah. I didn't think about this in terms of Gladiator. I thought about it in terms of Ridley Scott and Napoleon mostly.
Yeah, same here. That didn't make it any better.
No,
or
we had
worse.
I think we have different contexts, and I think that's the reason why I'm giving it a little bit more leeway.
I don't think that's the reason.
That's not why.
No,
that's
I
not
don't
why I'm
think
giving
so.
it leeway.
No, I don't think so. Look, I was purposely trying to separate myself from the earlier movie.
Yeah, but
because
you couldn't do it.
I believe movies should stand on their own merits, right? A sequel, like some movies demand a sequel because a story's been literally broken across two movies.
Like Rebel Moon.
That goddamn! How dare you, sir? This was the
Sorry, like Wicked.
hey, remember people like that movie, so let's make another one, right?
Kinda, yeah.
And which is not the reason I want to see a movie made.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to see this movie just on its merits, and the movie itself kept saying, remember Gladiator? Remember the first movie? Hey, remember this?
I don't.
Hey, look, here, you're Maximus's son. I'm your mother. And look, here's Maximus's
Your mom.
armor.
What does that
Put it on.
What does that mean in terms of the movie's mechanics? Because in a movie like I don't know, I'm trying to think of another sequel. And I don't know, but I'm thinking about it like a Star Wars sequel. I don't think about the Star Wars sequel as saying, hey, remember all the stuff that happened in
Right.
the last movie. So what is it about this movie that did that besides the memories that were a callback literally?
Oh, well, it's breaking from the mechanic that is just telling a story organically to say, how can we capitalize on the nostalgia of the previous movie? Being like, ooh, audience, get excited because of context that isn't in this movie that exists hopefully in your head and will like get you hyped up. Right?
I don't know.
That's the breaking of a mechanic right there.
Yeah,
It's
but I don't.
bullshit.
I didn't see that,
I saw it a lot.
but I didn't.
You even agreed with me that at the end of the movie, it almost felt like a Force ghost of Russell Crowe was going to show up. You remember?
It did.
So
No, it did.
Like
It totally
they were
did,
getting so like crazy about this like I am the son of Maximus and I will redo what Maximus did.
Yeah.
And then the movie ends with him in the Colosseum. He picks up a handful of gravel.
Yeah, and he says
"Father, talk to me,"
Talk
or
to me,
something
right.
like that.
and
then
he
the
puts
movie
his hand in
ends.
the statue of the other hand. He says, "Talk
And
to
it,
me."
it had gotten so campy at that point that I was prepared to see fucking Russell Crowe in the clouds saying, "Remember who you are, Simba," or something, you know? Like, I was like, what? This is stupid.
Yeah.
This is just really stupid.
I could agree. I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? You have something to add?
Not really.
The fuck
No,
you doing
I'm
here?
just here to listen.
Cool, good. Thanks. Because we have
We're having a discussion
We have
right
a
now.
lot to talk about
I
right here.
see that.
But all that's a distraction from the bigger things that make this a terrible movie. There's a lot more. Like, that's just a side note. That's not what made this a bad movie.
I'm not saying that the movie's not bad because as we both agree, it's bad.
Yeah.
And thank you. There's only 2 of us here.
I agree. It's bad.
Yeah. We're going to cut to you every once in a while. I just want to see you nod, okay? Thank you.
Watching Gladiator 2, I could tell they were doing the same story. And I was put off by that opening title screen of
It didn't matter.
like, yeah, oh, well, it was kind of pointless. And now we got to start over.
Yeah.
And it just everything kind of felt like a weak rehash. And it was easy for me to separate from the first one. I did catch the callbacks and stuff, but I see that as kind of blatant fan service, which is
that's what pissed me
which
off.
is bad.
That's my whole point.
Yeah, which is bad. I don't like fan service 90% of the time. But what I think was really unfortunate about this movie is that it couldn't be its own movie, and it couldn't really be something that it didn't feel cinematic, which is a really weird thing to say because everything about
We watched this in the cinema.
Yeah, everything about the movie insists that it's cinematic.
Large scale,
pretty cool costumes, sets, crazy setting, and all that. Coliseum filled with water, crazy stuff.
Yeah,
but I couldn't think of a single shot in this movie that was there to move the story forward. The whole thing was coverage,
which ties into a bigger problem for me, which is fundamentally I'm not even sure what the story is.
Yeah, and for me that was the issue too. And I was telling Kenny about this earlier, that David Scarpa, who was one of the 3 screenwriters that worked on this or something, he said that the movie Ridley wanted to make the movie, the second one, right after they made the first. And he said that, oh God, I'm just thinking about how stupid this is. He's stupid. Really stupid. Ridley Scott's stupid.
We're going to get into that.
Yeah,
we will get to there.
He couldn't make the sequel, I'm guessing for many reasons, but one of them was that he wanted a rhino in it. And he didn't have the quote-unquote technology. Yeah, he didn't have the technology
oh my God.
to put a rhino in it. And so now they do. And it was half animatronic, half VFX that they put in.
Really? Was any of it was animatronic?
I know. We'll get into that. I know.
Seriously. Let's not even begin to talk about those fucking baboons.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's the thing.
My God.
But it was interesting though, because David talked about how it was in his head from the beginning, and so he made a pitch. It was basically an email. He said that Ridley was like, "Hey, Gladiator 2," and he was like, "Oh yeah, let me draft up something." Drafts it up, sends it to him, and that's basically what the movie is.
So the script has been kind of hammered out already.
But the problem with it was how do you? He said, "How do you continue the script when your main characters died in the first one? Right? We have no more Maximus and no more." Who's the other person?
I'll tell you what, you make a new story about a new gladiator that doesn't have to be connected to the old movie at all.
Yeah. So
that's how.
Well, this one ended up becoming about Rome as a whole. And that was weird, especially because, what's his name's character? Denzel Washington's character.
Yeah.
Was, part of Rome who wasn't the emperor.
Right.
And that was a strange offshoot, and then that plus all the other main characters. We have the general, we have the mom, we have the twin emperors. They're not exactly sympathetic, but they do have a sympathetic thread in here when there's one twin going for the other twin.
They were kind of funny.
I like
their characters.
Anyway, that's the whole thing with the script.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Am I crazy to say that the movie almost had a History Channel vibe?
You're not crazy. Hello, I am. Yeah.
I can't talk right now. This is talkies. I don't take calls during the talkies. Sorry.
I can't hear you because Kenny was making fun of me.
Everything okay?
My whole family's dead.
That's funny.
That's really good.
Hilarious.
That was great.
Y'all have a lot of free time now.
Thank you. I do actually. Yeah.
Finally.
Because my family was taking up all my time.
All your time. I know.
Yeah. Let's talk about Mr. Denzel Washington. Really quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first thing that comes to mind for me are all the reviews that said something to the effect of the movie was okay, but it was made great by Denzel Washington's incredible performance.
I'm going to correct that a little bit. It's going to be more like this movie was balls, but it was made tolerable by Denzel Washington's
Right.
interesting performance.
So there's many variations on that thought out there in
Yeah.
the critics sphere
Yeah.
right now. And I had read some of those before going into the movie. And so it colored my expectation a little. And I was like, here we go. I want to see this Denzel character because everyone's talking about how like cool it is.
Yeah.
And Denzel didn't do anything particularly special.
Not for the story, yeah.
No. What he did was be his amazingly handsome, charismatic self
Yeah.
in a very boring movie.
Yeah. No, he was.
So he stood out for
I want to
sure.
say, I want to say he was the most interesting part of the movie.
He absolutely
Yeah,
was
definitely
the,
the
most
best
interesting thing.
performance in the movie.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I don't think he had the stretch though to do that performance.
No, but
No.
he did a good job.
I think if
playing the
anyone
role.
else came and played that role, we wouldn't be talking about this character.
100%.
Yeah.
I have more to say about the character itself than Denzel's performance.
Well, there is things to say for sure.
What do you have to say about the character?
He was confusing for how it was confusing what the director Ridley Scott or screenwriter intended me to feel about the character, because they kind of make him out to be a bad guy near the end.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He kind of seemed like the guy to root for.
I
I found myself rooting for him.
I think he's kind of an anti-hero in here because he was like a sub-emperor kind of character.
He was gunning for power.
Right. He was, because he was the enemy of your enemy, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's the reason.
But
But
you hit
he-
on
yeah.
the point. I think weak writing and weak directing is the enemy of this entire movie, because I could say the same thing about every character in this movie, including the one that's supposedly the main character of the movie. I don't know who this guy is. We just
Yeah.
watched this whole long movie.
Yeah, he has
And I
no
don't-
real defining traits.
I don't
or-
understand what his like.
His motivation.
He didn't even seem like he was motivated by revenge.
Yeah.
Not really,
I have
yeah.
a thing about that. Yeah.
I also think it's weird, like, not to harp on and on about Gladiator 1,
Harp on it.
but the fact that they're both of their inciting incidents or whatever are related to their wife and their wife's
Yeah.
ultimate demise.
And they went through the same actions.
Exactly.
But let me
Weird.
say something about that, because in Gladiator 1, which as we discussed earlier, it's a much more intimate movie.
Yeah.
It's much more personal.
Yeah.
We really get close to one specific character
Yeah.
throughout the whole movie.
Right.
Whereas this one feels very impersonal, that we never really get close to anyone. Now, yes, the same story beat happens, right? His loved one gets killed by the invading army, right? And now he's angry and wants revenge, right? But in that first one, we met his family and his children. We saw the way he interacted with his family and had plenty of character development to buy into the fact that this is, from what I can see, a good person with a happy family that loves each other, that I can relate to. Like, I grew up in a family like that. Like, I
Yeah.
see that and I'm like,
Yeah.
the empathy threads are there. The Gladiator 2 seemed to try to like completely shortcut that. Like, we had like a very short
Yeah.
scene. I want to say it was less than 2 minutes long.
I mean,
It was
there's-
really short, yeah.
We get 3 shots of him farming.
Yeah.
Right. and then his wife's there, and they're both like, we love each other. Let's go to
they,
war.
They practically just say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go to war and she dies, and then he's like, now I'm on a quest. And honestly, when that happened, when his wife was killed and he was all shocked, I still didn't feel like the movie at that point had given us any real reason to root for either side of the conflict we had just seen.
It's the lack of perspective, I guess, is what it was. Is that's how I would identify it. Is that you would have, when you have a perspective shift like that, if you're focusing on one character and everything that's happening behind, defense wise, and then you focus on another character offense wise, and going throughout that in that conflict, that has to mean something in the end. Like,
Yeah.
What is it? What is it that you're telling us about these two characters?
Yeah.
And in this moment, what that told us was that they are fighting,
Right.
and that was about
Yeah,
it.
right.
Yeah.
That's exactly all we got.
Yeah, and there was nothing about, like, it wasn't saying that, what's his name? What's the main character's name? Lucius? something Latin.
Maximus.
Maximus Jr.
Maximus Jr.
We'll call him Maxi
Yeah.
Jr.
So
That's good with me.
Maxi Pad.
Maxi J.
Maxi J. Maxi J goes.
That's good with me.
Lucius. He isn't afraid during the battle. He actually seems kind of hyped when the battle is like he's like
he's
getting all
ready.
this. Yeah, he's getting
And he
people.
like fully is like. It seemed like that opening scene was trying to tell us that they were confident they were going to win.
Right. And so there was that, and then what's his name? The general, Pedro Pascal's character, comes in.
Mandalorian.
Mando comes in, and he's not hyped, but he's not scared. And there's no reason to believe that either of these people have any low point or anything conflicting that they're facing other than physical drive forward and going to fight each other, and that's about it.
Yeah. And then when homeboy, main character, whatever the hell his
Lucius.
name was, Maxi J. When his wife is shot with the arrow through the chest and falls down, the movie stops, as in like,
Right.
ooh,
From his perspective.
right.
Yeah.
Everything goes into slow motion.
Yeah.
No!
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just watched hundreds of people get shot.
Yeah.
Right? Like hundreds.
No, but his wife died.
Which would be interesting if we cared about his character at that moment.
That's what exactly.
But
That's
yeah,
exactly
but
it.
it's because again, like you said, like the movie it's not connecting with any character. It's not saying one character's perspective is more than the other.
What's the actor's name that played that guy?
Paul Mescal.
That's it.
Yeah.
I have not seen him in anything that I like.
So, me neither. Ridley Scott.
I don't get his hype.
Yeah, Ridley Scott. How he casted him was through a Zoom call.
That's how the best castings happen.
It is.
Everyone knows that.
He said that he had someone else for the part first, and that person, I guess, fell through or whatever. And then he had a Zoom call with Paul. And apparently, I guess he's really big in a show or something. I'm not exactly sure.
I'd never heard of him.
Yeah. Well, his name was everywhere when this movie came out.
He's really popular.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, but
I'm just an old guy out of the loop, you know.
Ridley had
I
a
don't know
Zoom call with
stuff.
him, and like within 30 minutes, he was like, "Yeah, you're gonna be the guy."
Okay.
So yeah.
Well,
you go.
well,
first. Go ahead, Taylor.
Oh, sorry, Taylor.
Go on, Taylor. Oh my god.
God damn.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of gets into like Ridley Scott and the issues I have with him.
Oh, we have a lot of issues with Scott.
in his modern,
Yes.
his more contemporary
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
Can I stick a pin in you?
No,
Just
I don't want that.
I just want to pin you for a sec.
I
'cause
don't want any pins near me.
Kenny has a lot to say about Ridley Scott.
I have a lot to say about
right.
Ridley Scott.
I think once
as
we
well.
make that shift, that'll be the rest of the episode. So there's
You're
just a
trying to
couple
shut me
things I
down,
want to say.
is what you're saying?
I want you to just fucking take a pin like a man. That's, you know?
I finally get some words in this episode,
Taylor,
and this is how I get
you're
treated.
being a little bitch. Spread your legs and take a pen.
No, I'm not going to let you pin me down. I could say other things.
I brought the
too.
thing up. I asked what was the guy's name because I had something to say.
Paul Mescal.
Yeah, Maxi J.
Yeah.
I don't doubt for a second that he didn't put his whole performance
I do.
into the screen. Thank you. You can speak later after I unpin you. I think he tried hard, and he did a lot that was like, you know, ferocious and impressive.
Yeah,
and
physical.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I have no evidence to say he has anything else to give than like that
Physical performance.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a good
Is he,
actor.
is he an actor?
I don't know.
What, is he good?
He's a performer.
This movie didn't tell me.
Why didn't this movie tell me about Paul Mescal?
What I'm getting to is what we ended up seeing on the screen is not his fault.
Oh, I think that's true of all the actors.
Yeah.
I think everyone did a pretty good job. I think Denzel Washington did a better job because he's so effortlessly talented at what he does.
Right.
Pedro Pascal did a great job, but I don't think any of them had a lot to work with.
Yeah,
Black
don't-
characters.
yeah.
Poorly written, poorly directed,
Poorly
is what I
motivated.
see.
Yeah.
Because I could not I love doing impressions, right? I love doing impressions of characters that I like in movies.
Ooh, do your
And-
best Maxie J impression.
Sword. There it is. And I was about to say, I could not give you one
Right.
of that character because the character was never definitive,
Yeah.
right? Like, I never really got to what he's about, what he wants, what scares him.
Well, so I think
I never really saw him all that vulnerable.
I think there was a
either.
lot. I think you're right. There wasn't that much vulnerability in here, but they did get into his character a lot. But I think it was muddled by all the other perspectives that were in here, because we have Lucilla, who's in here. We have Marikrinis, what's his name? Denzel's character, and we have the twin emperors, and we have even Marikrinis's partner guy.
Yeah.
And then the doctor also. There's like a bunch of different other characters that we like to focus on every now and then.
And four of those, any of those four top characters could have been the main character.
Totally.
We could have had
Yeah.
a movie about
Yeah,
any of them.
yeah. And it would have been more interesting because of it, right? And I keep thinking about how cool this would have been to be as a perspective from Denzel's character.
Yes.
From the Emperor's point
I
of
think
view.
many people walked away from this movie with that take,
Yeah.
that this would have been a better movie if it was about that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
totally.
that's an issue, definitely, in the sense that I don't get what the movie's trying to tell me about all these characters, like who, and not that movies need to be. This is so clear about this is the good guy, this is the bad guy. You know, I'm open to experimental
Sure.
forms of storytelling, but this movie to me seems to be a very traditional Hollywood type structure.
It seems like it should have the good guy,
And
bad
it
guy.
seems to like just by assuming that the main character is the good guy and the person helping him is like, you know, what's the guy, what the fuck, Denzel Washington
Yeah.
starts as like a good guy, then kind of turns bad, and then the emperors are obviously kind of bad, but I never felt like, or like Pedro Pascal starts as like kind of a bad character,
Right.
but you learn that he doesn't really like have a lot personal
Right.
in his war conflict, like his war. He's like, he even says like, oh, I'm tired of fighting these vanity wars for the emperor, you know, and like, oh, that made me respect him. Like, oh, I don't see you as a evil warlord who
Right.
killed that guy's wife
Totally, yeah.
anymore.
Maybe give us more of that.
Yeah, and so like I think that's all good stuff to have, but the way it was directed felt so scatterbrained and
Yeah.
unfocused,
Absolutely.
and confusing that by the time the end happened and Maxie J is dueling Denzel Washington,
Yeah.
I was straight up rooting for Denzel Washington. And I
Yeah,
didn't
because you wanted something different to happen.
I was confused when Denzel kind of lost,
yeah.
and everyone's like, yeah, I was kind of with him.
Yeah. Trying to figure out what he had accomplished at that
Yeah.
point.
I was like,
Well,
I don't get it.
From everything I'd seen on the screen, he's clearly a better choice to be leading Rome right now.
yeah, I mean, sure, exactly.
It's not like
that's what
he's
I'm
like
saying.
some like psycho dictator that
Sure,
wants to turn Rome into utter anarchy and chaos.
Right.
He's literally trying to get rid of two fucking psychopaths that are running the empire, and I'm like, oh yeah, I think he should be in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was confusing. Stuff like that with
Yeah.
all the characters, I didn't get.
Right. Yeah. No, I would agree. I think a lot of the actions were not supported with like you said, it felt scatterbrained directing. There was one character moment I thought was really interesting that was that had to do with that kind of thing, but characterization was that Lucilla had a moment in here where Maxie's mom, right, where she sees her husband and her child fight to the death, right? That should be like just heart-wrenching,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that made me think I was like she's losing her shit on screen, but I never felt anything
Yeah, I
for
was like, I
her.
don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I was like, I don't care.
Like the movie almost told us that Pedro Pascal's character was the B-level husband and actually didn't
Right.
matter.
Right.
Like it got to a point where she's like, I love him so much, and actually he's kind of not that important because you're my real son. You know, that's like what it felt like, and I was just like, oh, he doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah. It was strange.
And that's why I keep coming back to that. This movie has hard History Channel vibes, right? It was like they were like, let's make it look like real Rome. Right. But we're the History Channel, so we're not going to make up a narrative that tells a story and entertains an audience. We're just going to be like, here's the thing that happened, and here's the thing that happened, here's the thing that happened on the background of something that looks like actual Rome.
Right.
That's what this movie was, and that's not a movie.
No, yeah.
That's not a movie.
Yeah.
And
we lack
they brought in the
perspective,
Ancient Aliens guys to plan out that whole Shark Tank arena.
I loved that.
I love that. It should have been in fucking Mad Max Fury Road, not in this movie.
There was I heard
that was the most absurd shit I've ever seen.
No, it's not. It's not that much absurd.
It's absurd.
It's not absurd at all.
The water's not absurd.
I would.
The shark.
The sharks were.
Is the problem.
So they got the salt water, they got the pH level correct, the water temperature.
Well, what I'm
telling you, you put a shark in that, it's just going to belly up and be dead in like 2 minutes.
There's
let alone how they get a shark there.
there was
they had a tank
on
wheels.
There was a thing about that in the script writing with David. He was saying that that he wrote in eels at first, and then he added a shark at one point. And Ridley, he's
sharks are good.
Yeah. Ridley was like, "Oh, I'll do sharks," and he only did sharks.
Sharks translate really well on screen.
Right.
Well, but that was again, like, I'm sorry to keep bringing up the original movie.
Can you stop?
No, I won't.
I'd rather
duck it off?
This is the sequel, Kenny.
Yeah, thanks.
This has nothing to do with the first one.
This is the direct sequel.
Is that it had this like realism that was based in grit, like the realism in Gladiator 1 was based in blood and dirt and splinters under your fingernails,
Right, sure.
and fucking running your hand through wheat, which they tried to do in Rebel Moon.
They did,
Yeah,
that was a Rebel Moon thing.
And this had fucking sequences that felt like they belonged in Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah, they did. They did feel that way. The only reason why I was defending the sharks thing is because I didn't realize that the Coliseum actually did have it was waterproofed for
Right. They
for
did
water.
actually put water in it and have boats.
Right.
Right.
That's so cool.
That is
Which
cool.
is crazy. Yeah. Like, I mean, the Romans were fucking nuts.
Yeah.
That's definitely legit.
Right.
Right.
And
You
even
don't
the whole
have to do sharks to make them nuts. Like,
Yeah,
you
the
have
sharks
to do
don't
the
add
sharks.
that much. Like the
sharks-
boats in the water and the col, that's
Right.
enough.
That
Like,
was
that
enough,
is
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right, we're gonna flood a coliseum and have people fight
Right.
to the death on boats is pretty fucking crazy.
They did not need sharks. Yeah,
They were like,
not at
let's
all.
just have sharks and don't ask how we got the sharks.
And also don't ask about the fucking VFX of the sharks. 'Cause
Jesus.
Dude, I will
Jaws looks
forgive.
better.
I will forgive those sharks. Let's talk about the baboons.
Yeah, that's bad
and the
too.
baboons, no.
That was
They were both
original
pretty
Jumanji level.
bad. True.
Fucking like that was bad.
the
The rhinos.
I
look
couldn't
bad too.
believe
Yeah.
how bad.
So that
Actually,
was
all
weird.
the CG looked bad.
That's what was weird about the rhino is I heard it was an animatronic, and what's his name?
Didn't look like it.
Yeah, well, Ridley Scott was the one who said it. So fuck if I know if
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
real. But he
Yeah,
trying to
that
sell his
lying
movie.
piece of shit.
he said that they had like a I don't remember how much he said it weighed, but it was like a giant thing. But then he said it was on wheels. So I'm like, okay, so it's not an animatronic per se then. But then he said it was a wheeled animatronic that we could drive toward people and stuff. Something that he couldn't have done in the first movie, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
So this entire movie hinged on that rhino.
The
Existence of this movie.
he said that he really wanted a rhino. Yeah.
In that rhino,
So he made this movie just to
sequence-
shoot a rhino.
Okay, and that rhino sequence was featured prevalently in the trailer.
In the trailer, yeah,
it's
it
a
was.
big
Right?
set
It was
piece.
a big set piece. And when I was watching that, again, like I didn't feel high stakes. I wasn't on the edge of my seat or anything like that.
Sure.
Instead, my brain was going to all the arena based Gladiator-like scenes I've seen in other movies that were so much better.
Like Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Yes! Star Wars fucking Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Better CG too.
Was
Oh
better.
my god! Oh my god! Well, wait. What's the thing you're talking about?
What thing?
Well, you said Star Wars Episode 2.
Yeah, Star Wars Episode
When they have
2,
their
Attack of the
Coliseum.
Clones. At the end, there's a
Oh, right.
Coliseum sequence.
That's
And they're
right.
fighting
where,
monsters.
you got Anakin,
Practically a rhino.
Obi-Wan, and
Right.
Padme
Right.
are chained up, and monsters come in to kill
Yeah.
them,
Yeah, I
and
remember.
they fight their way out, and it's better. And that
Yeah.
was made more like 20-something years ago.
That had some. Yeah, that's because we have emotion in those scenes. That's
a weird thing to be saying
That's
about the
so weird.
prequels.
Yeah, no, it's because
you're right.
it's more intimate, right? It has more to do about the characters themselves and the challenges
And that's
they're going
all
through.
anyone bitched about those prequels was that the characters were shitty.
Right.
And
Ironically, the
dude.
yeah,
choreography
here that's
is
what
better,
we're
too.
saying is like,
Yeah.
no, the characters is what made that scene
That's-
worse.
It's really
crazy.
funny how time has been kind to the prequel.
Yes,
I know,
it has.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
yeah, that's the correct response. That sucks.
It does.
Yeah.
What does that mean has happened to Hollywood?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So
You're right.
in that, for taking that subject and going forward with it, Ridley Scott.
Well, hold on. Wait.
Jesus. Okay.
Hey, I'm gonna stick a pin in you.
Oh god damn
Oh,
it.
fuck.
Me
Dude,
too.
you gotta get rid of these pins.
No, you're both
You
pinned.
gotta not.
Listen, you're
gotta
both
not-
pinned. Shut the fuck up. I pinned you. I pinned you. You're pinned.
I'm gonna pin you.
You can't. I'm unpinnable.
You're getting pinned.
I invented the pin. You can't pin the pinner. On the topic of arena gladiator battles,
Yeah.
we saw one this year that was one of
Oh,
the
yeah.
coolest things I've ever seen
It's like
in
one
cinema.
of the best ever.
Remind me.
Dune 2.
Oh yeah. Jeez.
Holy
No.
shit.
That's
But that's what I mean.
that's way beyond this.
I hear Mr. Ridley Scott saying, well, I'm not going to make this movie until the technology exists so that I can make it the way I want it.
For the rhino.
And so we wait years, and so he waits till 2024
Yeah.
to do it right.
No, he did
And
a
in
lot.
that very same year, we have Dune 2,
Yeah.
which is the coolest fucking gladiator scene I've seen in my life.
But yeah, and the reason why also isn't because it was shot in infrared or using all of the technology of
although that helped.
now.
Sure, that's like seasoning, but or
Yeah.
like little.
Yeah,
extra.
but why did
Yeah.
it really matter?
Yeah, we have what's his name, the Baron at the top, like talking directly to, is it his nephew?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His nephew, and it's like the whole scene hinges on us trying to figure out if, or basically how this nephew's going to react to the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not about just him knifing guys.
Yeah, will he survive?
right.
That
Yeah,
wasn't
exactly.
it. It had deep emotional
Yeah.
stakes.
There's actually storytelling happening
Right.
with the shots.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's,
Visual
so
storytelling.
that's true about Dune 2, and it's true about Star Wars Episode 2.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So now we can talk about Ridley Scott.
Let me get
So-
that pin out of me.
Hold
yeah.
on.
No, Taylor's first. Your pin's still in.
God damn it.
Taylor,
Hold on,
go.
So I want to say that this movie feels a lot like The Force Awakens in a lot of ways,
Okay.
where it's a direct sequel, but it's basically a remake.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can give you that.
I just wanted to say that.
That I totally feel
And
that way.
my main problems beyond character, anything, or even writing with this movie is firmly with the directing and the cinematography. Both of those
Interesting.
things are my two main problems.
I haven't harped on the cinematography much, so tell me what's on your mind.
My problem with the cinematography has to do with how Ridley Scott shoots his new movies.
Oh.
He relies heavy on multicam shooting.
Yeah.
So
Wasn't there one of you told me there was like an interview with his
Yeah.
old
Yes.
cinematographer?
Yeah.
I was talking about that.
rehash that. Tell me
Yeah,
that.
I have to look up maybe an editor's note or something of the article. I'll find it or something. But his old cinematographer he used to work with in like the 80s and 90s.
Back when he made excellent,
Great movies,
excellent
yeah.
movies.
He left working for Ridley Scott after some time. They stopped working together because Ridley Scott wanted to focus on approaching movies with a multicam shoot instead of a single cam shooting. Ridley's idea was to get mass coverage of
Yeah.
a scene
Right.
and then find the movie in the edit. Actually pick the shots in the edit and find something that works that way. Because doing it that way, you can move way faster, get more shots, and be more efficient. So, you come in on budget, save time. And that's how, Ridley Scott does make a lot of movies.
Yeah.
So he's able to get his movie every year out,
That sounds 100% like a producer.
Yeah. And so that's great for efficiency.
It's how a producer thinks. It's how a showrunner thinks.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
It's great for efficiency. And I'll give him that he does a pretty good job of maintaining a level of quality.
He produces really well.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to say, like, Gladiator 2 is not the worst movie I've seen this year.
No, I wouldn't say so.
But
I'm going to stick a pin in me because I have a comment about that.
Okay.
Please remind me later.
Get pinned.
Get pinned.
I'm pinned. I'm
Okay,
pinned.
get pinned.
Ooh, I kind of liked it.
Ooh.
All right, go on.
So with that, what you lose is visual storytelling, like entirely.
Yes.
Entirely, yeah.
Yes.
So every shot in this movie feels like coverage.
Yeah.
Every single shot. I don't think there's a single shot in this movie that actually tells a story.
Yeah, or a shot where you just knew that like Ridley Scott was up late at night in bed and couldn't rest because he had an image in his brain that he couldn't wait to create on screen.
But,
which is ironic when you think about the first Gladiator movie, because that shot of Jared Butler running his hands on the wheat is so iconic.
Sure, absolutely.
And is visual storytelling.
Yeah, I would say that his movies are different though from that. At least in now, because if we look at The Martian I felt like was shot completely differently. And that doesn't feel like a multicam shoot.
No, it doesn't.
No.
I don't know how he approached that one,
The
because that's
Martian
one
is
character on a planet.
Totally an outlier in everything he's made.
Well, that's the other thing with Ridley Scott is he's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes he makes good movies still.
Yeah.
I don't know. That sometimes it's getting bigger. And
It's been like since like The Martian was
Well,
probably
so
the last
Martian
one.
and maybe Prometheus.
Yeah,
and what else?
Yeah.
I was gonna say
which
that
is controversial.
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah. Well, those who think that Prometheus is controversial, eat a dick.
That's most people.
Eat a dick.
Oh yeah, we're getting divisive here.
I agree.
Eat a dick.
I agree.
Go on.
I do agree. I was telling Kenny before that I believe Ridley is much better at producing than he is at directing. I think he still has a director's mind, and he kind of keeps that in the back of his brain. But like you said, because he wants to make so many movies, and I feel like it has to do with his aging. I'm not exactly sure. This is an armchair psychologist.
That's an ageist take.
No,
That's an
he's right.
ageist take.
He's right for it, though.
He's ageist and he's right.
And he's right for it.
Yeah.
Armchair psychology. I think it feels like that, but I say he's a good producer, and it feels that way in his movies like Napoleon also. Napoleon was about one person, and it feels like it's about nothing. It feels like it's about all the battles.
Right. When we were talking about Napoleon,
Yeah.
I said I finished this movie and did not feel like I was any closer to knowing Napoleon.
Right. Which is weird because it's not a biopic, but it's about one guy.
Called Napoleon.
It's called Napoleon.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone knows Napoleon.
Right.
He's a historical figure.
Never
Yeah.
really felt like I settled into Napoleon's shoes.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Even and it's funny.
Compared to like Barry Lyndon.
God,
Yeah.
I became Barry Lyndon. I seriously.
You are still Barry Lyndon.
If you go back and watch our Barry Lyndon episode, we have a whole conversation
That's funny.
where you guys were like, "No, Barry's a bad guy," and I'm like, "No, I like Barry."
Yeah.
And you're like, "No, he's an asshole."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Look, I understand him."
You were like, I am Barry Lyndon.
yeah. No, like I like full on became Barry Lyndon while I watched that movie.
Which makes sense. And like here, no one's talking about, man, that character I really liked. Because
Even people praising Denzel Washington
Right.
are not necessarily praising the character that he
character.
plays. They're
Right.
like, oh, Denzel's doing it again.
Right.
Back when we did a little show called Short Film Roundup.
It's a tiny little show.
Yeah, I've talked about this in other episodes. We came up with our own definition for what a great director is.
It's a person who can produce really
Nope,
efficiently.
that's not it. That's not it.
And
Yeah.
multicam. Yeah.
Son of a bitch. what we came because we were trying to give solid critique on short films we were watching from filmmakers that were submitting their short films to us.
Right.
We wanted to give solid critique on all the different categories of filmmaking. And so when we got to directing, we were like, okay, we have to define what does it mean? Like, what should we see on the screen to tell us that this was a good director?
Right.
And what we eventually ended up with was you can tell that the person directing this movie had a clear intention.
Yeah.
Everything that's on the screen happened because they wanted it to from the beginning.
Yeah.
There's no happy little accidents
Well,
on this, right?
Yeah, at least it doesn't rely on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is just 100% opposite of this coverage idea.
100%, yeah.
Right? That is the way you make a documentary.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
No, Ridley
or-
Scott would make some Boehner documentaries.
Right.
or a live studio audience sitcom.
Sure,
Right,
sure, right?
right.
But like in a documentary, you got, some real thing is happening in the real world.
You're
going to show up, cover it as much as you can, bring all that footage home, and then you're going to just spend hours and hours of time with this footage trying to find the story you want to tell in that footage.
Totally, yeah.
That is a thing. That's called documentary. That's what the History Channel
It's
does.
documenting.
Actually.
Yeah. It's when you document footage.
Right. And so it's like he's making stuff happen in a set.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, here's a set and here's actors.
Dude.
We're going to make a thing happen. We're going to document it, and then we'll go find a movie.
That would be really cool if he did that, like how Neil Blomkamp did District 9.
Sure, yeah.
That would have been, I would so get behind that. Like
that's cool.
A Ridley Scott, directed faux documentary would be sick.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
The thing about that coverage also, and additionally that his old DP was talking about, his issue with it doing multicam was that you can't really light for it.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
You can light for, if you're
true.
totally covered everywhere, you can't really light for that.
Right.
With a lot of intention.
Right.
See,
Not with a lot of
that's,
intent.
That's
right?
why you get very plain, generic looking,
Yeah.
honestly, like TV looking.
No, yeah. The
Scene.
The
Television
scenes,
looking.
Almost every scene inside the throne area just was horrendously lit.
Yeah.
Like underlit on the fills and everything.
Yeah, show up you're the DP, you show up on the day, Ridley Scott's, we have 10 cameras, 360 degrees. Okay, go ahead and light it.
It's like, okay, I'll just
What camera do
on
I prioritize?
one really bright light, and
Right.
that's
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Just top down, call it good.
There you go. Yeah. Wait. We should have 3. Wait.
Wait, that's what we do for our show. Of course, we are shooting our show for coverage.
What? We
Oh,
are.
shit.
We're Ridley
We are.
Scott.
Wait, we're live. We're Ridley Scott.
We are Ridley Scott. Oh, fuck.
No. What we're saying
That's
is Ridley
good. I
Scott
wish I was Ridley
would
Scott.
be great at podcasts.
Oh, no. Jeez.
No, it does make me think, because something I picked up from Denis that he talked about was how he likes to light an environment first, regardless of camera,
Oh, interesting. And then find the shots.
and then find the shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But he still uses one camera.
Right. Yeah, but finding the shots is different from having the shots just plucked.
Correct.
Right,
then
and
always roll,
and when you find that shot, you're still making a statement. You're saying, this
Exactly.
right here is how I want my audience to see this action.
Right.
Yeah.
This is how I want them to experience this. This is my intention
Yeah.
now given to an audience.
Yeah, it's weird. I wonder how, because I compared Ridley Scott to James Cameron earlier because they remind me a lot of each other, where they both make really big movies and don't have a lot of what I would call artistic intent with their movies.
Mm-hmm.
James Cameron is a little bit different because he does have a lot of intent. It's not always artistic intent, but it's intent. I don't know what Ridley Scott had back when he directed Alien and then forward. I don't like what is it
that is a thing that's confusing.
yeah, like what is it that he loves so much about movie making? Is it the movie? Is it the production?
Probably.
Because it feels like it.
That's what it feels like now.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like
Alien
that
didn't
now.
feel that way. Actually, what's weird about Alien was that he was so what's the word? Enthusiastic about the effects in Alien, and he really wanted to push that really high up to make sure that the alien was scary in the movie, but not so much. Like, you don't think? I mean, Alien does have a strong aesthetic, but it's not
Well,
like
I think there's about aliens specifically.
yeah.
I think there's a lot about the making of that movie that was beyond just Ridley Scott.
Sure.
Like a lot. Like all the set design, H.G. Geiger, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, and also, was that Was that written for him? Do you know?
For Ridley?
Yeah. Or based on
I
IP?
don't think so.
Because we were talking earlier about how
There was no pre-existing IP.
there wasn't
No.
for Alien. Okay.
Yeah, it's an original script. But
Okay.
that is almost a studio movie.
Right.
Which is crazy because it feels very indie.
Which is weird. Yeah, it does feel indie, and it feels really like artistically driven.
Hey, yeah, I love Alien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a huge amount of artistry on the screen.
But what is it then? Because I know it's a small scale horror, right?
I hate that I keep coming back to this explanation over and over again with famous filmmakers.
Yeah.
But I do because I think
He got famous and then he fell out.
Yeah, nothing to prove.
He fell off.
Nothing to prove.
So are you guys making fun of me, or are you making fun of the reality?
No, we're making fun of the
I'm
reality.
making fun of you.
Sorry, you
Because I
suck.
know I've said this a lot of times. But I mean, just to look at kind of the facts of the situation, right? When Ridley Scott was making Alien, he was a younger filmmaker. He was not nearly as iconically famous.
Right.
Right. There was a prescribed way of how you're supposed to make a movie. And at the time, that definitely would have been the one camera way of going about things, right? That idea of like, let's put on a massive thing and shoot it with 20 cameras, that would not fly, right? In Hollywood at that
Well,
time.
that would be beyond expensive.
Yes. So he was constrained by that, and constraint is the fuel of creativity.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a fact, I think, because the more constraint that's on you, the more that is demanded that you find creative ways to do so. And with something like Gladiator 2, and I'd say even more so with fucking Napoleon, I felt this so strong, was that this is a filmmaker that had no constraints whatsoever. It was just like, oh, it'd be cool. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Hey, can we bring in 1,000 of these?
Well, see, that's
Can
why
we shut down a country?
That's why I say that he's like a really good producer, because I feel like his creativity comes out from the production, right? It comes out through building things, like kind of like how Kubrick
might be the only place he has to put it out now. Though.
No, I think that's
Whereas
what it is.
back then, he had demands on him,
right.
That demanded creativity in the directing seat.
Yeah, well, I mean,
places.
One of the things, and I don't know much about Alien, but I do know that that the alien, isn't seen very much in the movie.
Right.
And I think one of those creative kind of things is trying to make the movie itself scary, like Jaws, without seeing the monster.
Yep.
And that was the thing that that I felt like was the artistic nature in that movie.
Ridley Scott has been saying he says weird things these days.
Sounds like we're talking about Joe Biden.
Let's not get political, guys.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Come on.
I'm sorry. It's not politics.
I think he said something around when Scorsese put out Killers of the Flower Moon. Because Scorsese was getting a lot of praise and love, and as
merited.
Yeah, right.
And Ridley Scott was like, how come I don't get all this cred? I've been making movies just as long as him. How come? And then he also said, and I put out more movies than him.
Right.
How come? Where's my cred?
That's a producer.
Yeah, and I'm like, bro, quantity does not equal good.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, if it did, we'd all be we'd be talking about Blumhouse like it's A24.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
One thing I think is really funny that he said recently was about Tarantino, and I agree with him.
What was it?
I agree with Ridley.
Yeah.
He he basically said something to the effect of, "Oh, just shut the fuck up and make your movie already." Stop whining.
Actually, I would love to say that to Quentin Tarantino. That's not wrong.
Yes, that is not wrong. Right.
And another thing he said, Dee told me this earlier. We were talking about like Francis Ford Coppola and his winery.
The wine thing, yeah.
Right?
The comment.
And like apparently there was a trend of filmmakers who were sort of like quasi-retiring to go have wineries or some other kind of post filmmaking venture that was kind of cool, like having a winery.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna now that I'm done with movies It's the wine business for me.
Yeah, and Ridley Scott was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I make movies. You bunch of pussies. You know what I'm gonna do in my old age is go make more movies.
Yeah, and he came out with like, he came out with the Covenant, with Alien Covenant, The Martian, Napoleon, and, you know, like he's just pushing.
One good movie
Yeah.
in 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Prometheus.
I think he did Prometheus before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Covenant was probably in production before that too.
I like Ridley Scott, you know, for what he is. He's just so hit and miss.
He's
Weirdly hit and miss. That's what, like, I'm finding myself talking about Ridley Scott the way we used to talk about M. Night Shyamalan all of a sudden. Where I'm just like, this guy is like, I don't understand. Like, he's such an enigma, you know?
He's also so versatile because it's hard to think of a universe where the same guy who directed Alien and Blade Runner and Gladiator also directed like Thelma and Louise.
Right. That's
What
interesting.
the fuck?
Well, which, by the way, is a great movie.
Amazing
It's
movie.
a great movie.
Yeah.
He also does shows, right? He made what was it? Raised by Wolves.
Raised by Wolves.
Yeah. And which has an incredible production. Like you watch that and you're just like, holy shit, like I'm inside a novel right now. It's excellent, except directing could be better, you know, show running could be better, you know. Yeah.
I find that when I really love a Ridley Scott movie, it doesn't really have to do with him.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It has to do with like the scripts, performances, and I guess production design.
Well, and what's interesting also is me and Kenny were talking about how Blade Runner, so the first one, you know, based on the book, the Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, but also when the sequel came out, it was just recent that Ridley came out saying comments about it, saying that he should have directed the sequel, and that he was mad now, or not, maybe not mad,
he
but
regretted losing.
he regretted it.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, had he directed the sequel, I don't think I would have liked it.
No,
at
it
all.
probably would have fucking sucked.
Yeah, that's really interesting to me, and it's funny because to me, thinking about him saying that tells me that he thinks of movies as like an objective thing that just happened, and it's like there's no difference between him directing that versus Denis directing it. I think in his mind,
Yeah,
you know,
it is weird.
yeah, and I'm just like, no, those are two completely different movies that you're talking about.
True. Yeah.
And that might be a reflection of kind of how he sees the role of a director.
I would say so. Yeah,
You know?
yeah, he's a producer director.
If he's producer first,
yeah.
then you see the producer as the person who really is molding the ultimate destiny of a movie,
Right.
and a director being a person you hire.
Yeah,
Right.
totally.
The
And-
director is just the guy who's got to make the days.
Yeah, and but that is definitely has been true in eras of Hollywood history.
Sure.
Especially like the golden age
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Hollywood,
definitely.
right?
Or
Probably
the
some-
MCU.
And the MCU now. But no, that's what I was going to say. There are certainly productions ongoing now today that definitely look at it that way. I'd say the movies that we tend to love the most are usually films where the director is as intimately tied into every detail of the movie as the producer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or is a producer at the same time.
Yeah.
You know?
But director first.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think so.
totally,
That's
yeah.
exactly it. It's director first.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reason why we adore people like Sean Baker or like other indie filmmakers that are not in control so much of the. Sorry, I know I'm going against what you were saying, but where they're not in control so much of the production itself, but they have a voice that's in the movie. I think that's a very well respected director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love feeling the voice of the director, and
I want to feel a voice of an artist.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know, that's
I like
what I go to art for.
I like experiencing different perspectives.
Right. Right. It's no longer just going to go see a blockbuster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's always been true of Ridley Scott that he doesn't really have a style. Like he's always been backseat. I mean, like, again, like,
That's true.
how can Alien and Thelma and Louise exist?
Right.
from the same.
Well, we have that
style,
term,
you know?
Spielbergian.
Yeah.
Right.
Spielbergian is a thing.
And what is Scott-esque?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Yeah.
we could go make a spoof right now to make fun of Spielberg.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And people would get it.
Yeah.
We can't do that for Ridley Scott.
It's not possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That was actually my argument against Joker. Was Todd Phillips. I was like, you can't do something that's Todd Phillips.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
true.
however, I'd almost say the same is true about Scorsese. And yet Scorsese's films are masterfully.
I don't know about that.
He definitely has
No.
You can definitely Scorsese-esque.
There's a Scorsese voice that I think echoes across all of his movies, but he also makes movies that are very distinct from each other.
That's true.
Like,
Yeah.
like they
Gains of New York.
like
Yes, he
God
does
damn,
have
right?
range. Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
so-
yeah, Gangs of New York versus Age of Innocence.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
versus Silence.
Yeah, versus Silence. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
an insane 3 pairing of movies.
Yeah, and so like
He has restraint
yeah, but
and a style.
I'm going to default to the fact that it's probably just utterly unfair to bring Scorsese into any comparison because I think he's some kind of god.
I do think
Like-
Scorsese is maybe the best.
I think
working
he's
director.
very, very special.
He's
Like,
he's very talented.
I've
yeah.
tried to like nail down the secret sauce of Scorsese, and I've just given up. I'm like, no, he's
Well, yeah, he defies your whole thing too because he doesn't have to prove anything,
nope.
and he's making movies that are as good as his
Yeah.
all-time classics.
Yeah, if
from
not
his
better.
heyday.
He
Yeah.
might be getting better with every
True.
movie.
Yeah, which is crazy.
It's yeah, but
Though he does have a hard time getting funding and stuff, so maybe he still has to get creative in that respect.
I'm saying what I've said, my theories, my ideas, they do hold true for mortals.
No. Yes.
Yeah. So
Oh, gotcha.
Because he's not a mortal.
Scorsese's a god.
He is God.
He's
Yeah.
a god.
Gladiator 2?
Oh, fuck.
God,
we were having such a good time.
Scorsese. Let's talk about
Having
Scorsese.
such a great conversation.
Right. Yeah. Not about Gladiator.
Yeah, you ruined our evening.
Yeah. Gladiator 2.
Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about.
Pizza.
No.
Yes.
God damn, you're
Yes.
gonna make me forget again.
Okay, go.
It's the reason I hate this movie more than movies that are worse.
Oh, sure.
Okay, I wanted to get
all
this
right.
out
Yeah.
because when I walked out, I felt really strong feelings of like just upset
Right.
about this movie.
Upset is different.
and that's
than bad
and
movie.
you helped me realize that was different.
Yeah.
because I started thinking about the worst movies I've seen this year. Now I still haven't seen Joker 2, and I will watch it. I really want. And
We should just do an episode on it.
I want to.
I don't want to watch it.
Fuck you.
Okay.
You got to do something.
I'd
Sometimes,
watch it again for talkies.
Listen up, D. Sometimes you have to do things you don't
Unfortunately.
want to.
If I'm gonna watch a musical I don't want to see, it's Wicked.
I forgot Joker was a musical.
I don't want to see Wicked, but
I'll take Wicked over Joker.
I'm going to see Wicked.
that's so brave. Anyway.
Fuck you, Taylor.
Anyway, I haven't seen Joker 2, but I've heard a lot of people tell me
Yeah.
that's the worst movie they've seen this year. Right? A lot of people hate that.
That's
movie.
what I said.
You're one of them.
Oh, you said
I'm
that.
one of the people.
You were the one person, and somehow that turned into many people in my head. No. And I have seen Reagan, which we all kind of agreed was like maybe the worst movie we've ever seen.
It's
Reagan
just,
is
yeah.
bad.
It's very
Really bad
very
movie.
bad. Yeah.
We watched Rebel Moon Part
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Which made us invent an award.
Yeah.
For the worst movie.
Yeah, like that was like a painfully bad experience.
Yeah.
Right? And yet Gladiator 2 gave me stronger negative emotions
Right.
about the movie, right? Like I was able to look at those other movies and be like, "Holy shit, those movies sucked," and that's kind of funny how that they sucked so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this movie was like, God damn it, why did that movie suck so bad? Right?
Sure.
And I think it's because we have this iconic director in Ridley Scott. We have this massive budget. We have beautiful set pieces. We have beautiful costumes. And in many ways, we're seeing all of the pageantry and excess and potential that you hope to see from Hollywood's biggest movies.
Yeah.
You know? And seeing it just absolutely squandered on a meaningless garbage is worse to me than a movie that is just a worse movie, right?
I can see why that would be upsetting.
Yeah, it left me just like pissed off.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, God damn it, because I want more movies made this way.
Right.
And but what right do we have to demand them if this is all you give us?
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Yeah.
It's sad. It pisses me off.
In my respect, I feel the same way, but it's for less movies. It's for like Blumhouse movies. Mm-hmm. Like when a Blumhouse movie comes out, I feel like that's a waste of the director. I feel like that's a waste of money. I feel like it's a waste of production. Like people putting effort into something that has no artistic merit, to me, feels like a sin. And Gladiator 2 does kind of feel that way, but I felt like the creative spirit was alive in the sort of getting A-list actors, putting them in roles that Ridley thought would be really good, and then building a place that looks like Rome, and doing all that whole Colosseum stuff. I think in his mind was something that he really wanted to do, whereas in The Invisible Man or fucking any other Blumhouse movie, I'm thinking like, did anyone really want to do this? It feels like the studio pushed it.
But in The Invisible Man, and I would venture to guess the upcoming werewolf movie,
Wolfman,
that Blumhouse is bringing
That's
up.
funny that it's the same person, or the creators, Invisible Man and Wolfman.
Yes, they put that in the trailer.
Yeah.
Ugh. I know what to expect.
Sure. So this was surprising.
So it's not. It doesn't piss me off the same way. Is what I'm saying. I don't want more.
Yeah.
Invisible Man.
Yeah.
Right. But I do want more big scale, completely immersive, believable worlds that I can disappear into at the cinema.
Yeah.
And Ridley Scott is one of the voices saying, "Hey, we have to preserve the old way of doing things," and he's shitting the bed.
Right.
Right. That pisses me off.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I felt that way about Heretic. That's my thing.
That was a great comparison, actually, because that's exactly the same thing on a different scale, right? Heretic was such an interesting idea.
Yeah, it was the promise to be an intellectual horror, whereas Gladiator 2 was a promise to be a big budget blockbuster.
Just an epic.
Yeah.
Just another glorious Hollywood epic.
Which, speaking of holy shit, the budget for this movie, everyone is lying about. Ridley Scott says that he came in $10 million under budget, and Lionsgate says that's not the case. Lionsgate says that it cost $310 million, somewhere around there. He says it cost $260 million.
Oof. Both are bad.
Both are bad. But apparently it was inflated above to what Lionsgate was talking about. So I don't know what the fuck.
How, somehow.
Also, fucking Marvel, the new Brave World.
Yeah.
It's going to cost $1 billion or something.
It's over 400 million at the moment.
That's like no movie, no matter what the scale is, should cost that much.
If you want to be infuriated, Disney's Snow White, live action Snow White, now has passed $600 million of investment.
What?
Because of how much reshooting and remaking they've done. This movie was supposed to come out like 5 years ago.
Oh, that's right. I saw a teaser, or I saw leaked footage.
Still being tweaked and messed with and trying to salvage, and
dude,
costs just keep coming up, and now it costs more than Avatar: The Way of Water.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah,
insane.
Another one that's really expensive right now is the this next Mission Impossible movie is over 400 million.
Dude, and I saw a teaser for that in front of this.
Yeah.
And it looked like trash.
It did. It looked bad. It was like the earliest teaser they could do because there was no sound design.
That was
all
a
music.
lot
It was
of
all
footage
music.
of him running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much running.
Also, he's finally starting to look aged.
Yeah, with all these movies we just mentioned, it's gonna be bad because to make your money back.
Oh,
like,
right.
'cause, like, we're not even talking about like marketing budgets with these, right?
Well, it's not even right. Not even marketing budgets, but on top of that, when they go into theaters, this is now. I mean, we're in a post-theater world now. Like,
Sure.
like we're definitely pushing towards streams, toward anything else.
Sure.
How the fuck are they making money off of that?
Oh yeah.
Can we just point out that the most visually impressive movie of the entire year had what budget? Dune 2?
Oh, Dune 2 had 160 million.
Right.
Yeah.
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 That movie feels 10 times bigger
what
than any of
good
these movies.
filmmaking
Yeah.
looks like.
Absolutely.
Good directing and good producing.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
why we like Denis so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got an eye for what we believe people should be.
Well, between Mission Impossible, that Captain American movie, and Snow White, between those three movies, they're going to utterly bankrupt Hollywood.
Dude, that's like it's like almost $3 billion.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
for three movies. Like,
And-
It's not 3 billion. It's like 1.5 billion.
yeah.
Yeah, and but three movies that won't make very much money.
No, yeah, they'll
Yeah,
come in
they're
at
all
under
gonna
100
lose,
million.
All
sure.
going to lose money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
You can ask the pizza question now. I'm fine with that.
If this movie was like a pizza, what kind of pizza would it be?
All right, like we do in every episode.
Wait,
Oh,
wait,
right.
Wait.
Okay.
Wait. So if this movie was a pizza, what kind of pizza would it be?
That's the right way to say
that.
it.
That's a better way of saying
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I understand then.
Yeah.
Well,
And
why don't you
I
go
do
first?
have an answer.
Yeah.
Gladiator 2, directed by Ridley Scott. If it were a pizza, it would be the pizza in which you are traveling to the airport and you arrive to your gate early and you get hungry and you say, I have some time to grab a quick bite. Oh, and you remember as you walk to your gate, you pass by a little Italian pizza kiosk, you know? And so you remember that and you go back to it. And because when you passed it, you looked at it as you're going and you're like, that looks kind of good. Like that. Oh yeah. Like it looks like they got a pizza oven back there. It looks like it could be pretty good.
Looks like they got a pizza oven.
I'm hungry. I just need to eat. So you go over and you order it. You get a pepperoni pizza, Italian style, whatever that means. And
Italian
then,
style.
But
whatever
all
that means.
pizza was Italian.
right, yeah, but that's like the marketing. You're like, I don't know what
All right.
that means
Okay.
exactly. And
Yeah.
you get just
Yeah.
it just looks like a New York slice. It looks fine.
Okay.
And you eat it and it's kind of bland, really greasy, and the crust is more like kind of like crouton sort of
God.
textured.
Crouton.
Like it's crunchy.
Shreds the roof of your mouth.
Yeah, it's kind of crunchy in a weird
Gross.
way. Like
Got
it
the-
shouldn't be. Honestly, a pizza crust shouldn't be crunchy.
It shouldn't be
The
crunchy.
Captain
No.
Crunch effect.
Yeah, it's kind of crunchy. There's
Cheese grater on the
not
mouth.
very much sauce. And what they meant by Italian style is it's covered in oregano. Tons of oregano.
Probably smells good.
It smells good 5 feet away. It smells good. And it's just too much. And it's just
Dude.
not that good. It fills you up, but you're not really satisfied.
Oh, that's excellent.
And you get on your flight and you forget you ever ate it.
All right, dude. I'm gonna kind of like piggyback.
Want to riff on that?
Yeah, I'm gonna riff on that.
Riff on it.
Yeah, I think the travel idea is really good.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with that. So it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We're recording this right before Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
So we're just going with.
You're gonna
Thanksgiving.
go
But
there.
but
Yeah.
Reagan's gonna be.
Going. That's fine. I don't
Reagan's-
give a shit.
oh.
I'm recording this during Thanksgiving weekend. So this pizza, you are at the airport getting ready to travel for Thanksgiving. Your flight's delayed. You're with your family. You got kids. You're really like exhausted and tired already. And you haven't even got on the flight yet.
Goodness.
You weren't planning on buying pizza for your family at the airport because it costs a fortune. You got there at the reasonable right time so you could just get on your plane. You weren't going to buy dinner there, but now you have to, okay? And there is a pizza place, and it looks pretty good. You're like, that pizza actually looks pretty good, and I'm hungry. Let's do this.
All right.
Okay. So, problem is, they definitely over-season their pizza. It's like really salty pizza.
Gross.
You know, like imagine, it's like the mozzarella itself is extra salty.
Jesus.
Yeah.
How do you fuck that up?
They did. It's a salty pizza, okay? But you got your fucking bratty kids with you.
Fucking bratty kids.
Bratty kids.
Yeah. And you know what kids love to do? Shake a salt shaker on your pizza. Okay, so your 7-year-old is like, I want salt on my pizza, and gets a salt shaker and just over the whole thing. Right? Everyone's pizza gets extra salt. Right?
And it was already salty.
It was already too salty. And then they're like, change of plans. Your flight is now green lit. You're good to go. Boarding now. And you're like, oh shit, grab the pizza, everyone. We got to get on the plane. And you run, you get on the plane, you sit down, you buckle up, and you go, and you're sitting on the tarmac. Right? You're sitting on the tarmac, and they're like, ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid there is a bit of a backup on the tarmac. We're going to have to sit here for just a little bit. Just be patient with us.
That was a good pilot voice.
And then you're like, I could really use a cup of water with this pizza. And you're like, hey, could someone? And they're like, we can't until after takeoff. And once we reach our cruising altitude, we can bring you water. But for now, you're on your own. You're like, I'm so hungry. And every bite of this pizza makes me feel like I'm dehydrating my whole body. And you have to just eat it and feel like shit. You're
Jesus.
just like, I'm so thirsty. And I'm on this plane. And then we won't take off. And they won't let me have water until we take off. And my kids are crying. And one of them just pissed themselves. And that's Gladiator 2.
Fantastic.
That sucks.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
This was a terrible movie.
That sounds like
I hated this movie.
I wouldn't want to watch that movie.
I won't watch this movie again.
I have a not so bad experience.
I should have gone last.
Mine is you're going down a city street, and it's a beautiful building.
Where's the airport?
Sorry. You're not traveling.
What about the
Sorry.
airport?
It is like high echelon, good pizza place. You go over there, and then like everything is like in this shiny material. You have like there's like gold rimmed molding, everywhere.
Sounds like a good pizza's on the horizon.
Oh, you would think so. So
Hell
it's like
yeah.
really it's like two levels in this place. But there's only like 4 tables in here.
Oh, dear.
It's like really high stakes. People who come, not high stakes. What the fuck am I talking about? High price.
rollers?
High price.
It's where the high rollers get their
Yeah,
pizza.
it's where high rollers get their pizza. So you come in and you paying a premium for this pizza. I mean, you're coming in, you have to make reservations for the table and stuff. You sit down, really nice area. Waiter comes over and says, "There's only one pizza that we serve. You're going to have to wait here for about 55 minutes are you okay with this? We can bring you some sparkling water if you'd like." And you're just like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, sure." And so
At least they told you.
yeah, so they come over here and they do that. They then after waiting an hour, so hungry, and this is so good, and they come over and they give you a Pizza Hut pizza, and they say, "This is your pizza. Enjoy."
Damn.
And so that's it. Yeah, and it's a regular ass Pizza Hut pizza, and that's all it is.
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's bad.
You had really high expectations, but
Yeah.
it's not that good.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I enjoy eating a Pizza Hut pizza at the movie theaters.
I had actually pizza watching this movie.
Yeah, that's funny. But if you're going to a restaurant, like
I'm
that,
not
they
gonna
make you
fucking
wait an hour.
No, yeah.
Dude, if you know you're asking for and paying for a Pizza Hut pizza, it's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Just don't tell me it's a fucking tour de force.
No. Don't tell me that.
Yeah. Tell me it's Bloomhouse and give me Pizza Hut.
It sounds pretty good.
I'll be fine.
I'll be fine
I'm happy
with
with
that.
that. I'm like, oh, this was a decent Bloomhouse, right? All
Gladiator
right.
2 is a
God.
decent Blumhouse movie.
Oh, no.
And
Oh, shit.
And us.
In dust.
All right.
Indus.
Hey, we're done here.
Go to the Discord and watch movies at the Discord.
That's right. We're the Talkies. We're 3 filmmakers. We talk about movies. Karman Line Studios. Discord is where you can come and talk with us about movies and tell us why you thought Gladiator was shit or
No, just that it was shit.
Yeah, we only want an echo chamber. Please, if you disagree with us, just stay away. We don't want any of that.